every person currently on the FBI's most wanted list. This is the FBI's 10 most wanted list. It is a rotating list of fugitives that are so wanted by the government that they are literally asking the public for help and offering major cash rewards. When I did a deep dive on the most wanted list a year ago, you guys loved it. And today, I'm going to be doing an updated version of the list. Not only am I going to explain in detail who is currently on the list and why, but I am also going to give updates about everybody who was on the list in my last video and what happened to them today. Now, let's begin. Fausto Isidro Meza Flores. Fausto was born on June 19th, 1982 in Mexico. He is 43 years old, he has dark hair, brown eyes, weighs approximately 160 pounds, and is 5'6". And Fausto is also known as El Chapo Isidro. Fausto is one of the most recent additions to the FBI's most wanted list, being added only on February 4th, 2025. Although this individual is no stranger to crime and has a long history of criminal activity. Fausto is accused of spending the last 20 years flooding the United States with drugs that are extremely deadly and dangerous to society. This list includes fentanyl, cocaine, heroin, and other deadly drugs. It's reported that Fausto started his criminal career as an independent solo trafficker bringing small loads across the border for quick cash. Although today, it's assumed that he is the leader of the Meza Flores cartel with a massive drug route smuggling millions of dollars of drugs into the United States every single year. According to the FBI, the Meza Flores cartel is based out of Sinaloa, Mexico, and is primarily involved in the production, transportation, and distribution of these deadly drugs, meaning that they're pretty vertically integrated, but unfortunately in the worst way possible. Like any good alleged cartel boss, Fausto is not only wanted for drug charges, but he's also wanted for potential links to other insane crimes such as kidnapping, extortion, torture, and murder. It is believed that Fausto currently resides in Mexico and he is considered armed and dangerous and an international flight risk. The charges that Fausto are currently facing are the following: conspiracy to manufacture and distribute 500 grams or more of methamphetamine, distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine, distribute 1 or more kilogram of heroin, and distribute 1,000 kilograms or more of marijuana for importation into the United States, use and possession of a firearm. Those charges are insane and we're only just getting started. And if you happen to have any information about Fausto, the government is offering up to $5 million for any information that leads to the arrest and conviction of Fausto Meza Flores. That reward is massive, but I doubt it's the biggest one we're going to see on this list. Let's move on. Giovanni Vicente Mosquera Serrano. Giovanni was born on February 22nd, 1988. He's 37 years old, born in Venezuela, has black hair, brown eyes, and his height and weight are unknown. And he's also known as El Viejo. Giovanni was added extremely recently to the FBI's most wanted list, being added only a few months ago in June of 2025. Although with the list of charges I'm about to read you, it's no surprise he's on this list. Giovanni is currently being charged with international cocaine distribution conspiracy, international cocaine distribution, providing material support to a foreign terrorist organization conspiracy, and providing and attempting to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization. Giovanni is the alleged senior leader of the Tren de Aragua transnational gang, a gang that has specifically been designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the United States government. This gang originated solely in Venezuela, but now has operations throughout all of Latin America and the United States. And the primary reason why Giovanni is on this list is because the gang that he is the alleged senior leader of is allegedly responsible for sending gang members into the United States to engage in drug trafficking, human trafficking, weapons trafficking, and other violent crimes. The hunt for Giovanni specifically is actually part of a broader movement in the United States known as Operation Take Back America, which is a DOJ-led campaign targeting cartels and violent gangs that are based in other countries but operating within the United States. And not only is there support from the FBI in this investigation, but there's also support from the DEA, CIA, and other international partners. As of today, it is believed that Giovanni is either in Colombia or Venezuela. And if you have any information that could lead to the conviction or arrest of Giovanni, the US government is offering $3 million for your information. Omar Alexander Cardenas. Omar was born on March 23rd, 1995 in Los Angeles, California. He is currently 30 years old, has dark brown hair and brown eyes, and is approximately 5'6" and roughly 250 to 300 pounds, which is an insane build. What's more insane are his crimes. On August 15th, 2019, Omar is alleged to have arrived at an open-air shopping center, walked directly up to the window of a barbershop, and fired several rounds into the barbershop via a semi-automatic pistol. And unfortunately, during the shooting, one man lost his life. Although, interestingly, according to the FBI, it's believed that Omar doesn't even know the man that he killed, meaning that he either shot someone he was not intending to kill, or this was simply a random act of violence, likely as part of a gang initiation. Fortunately, there is CCTV footage of Omar walking to the shopping center and slowly waddling away as well. Although, even with this video footage, he is still not been caught nearly 6 years later. According to the FBI, it is alleged that Omar is involved with the Pierce Street Gang in Los Angeles, and it's also believed that his street name is Dollar, likely short for Dollar Menu. In all seriousness though, Omar is currently facing the charges of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution and murder. And once again, according to the FBI, it is believed that he has also been involved with other violent crimes as well, further adding to the terror this man has caused. It is reported that Omar often has a beard and also sometimes wears thick prescription glasses. And the FBI also believes that Omar may be in Mexico but could possibly be anywhere in the United States. To me, it's still shocking that 6 years later, this man that killed somebody in broad daylight on camera is still free to this day. But it's for this reason that the FBI is currently offering $250,000 for any information that could lead to the arrest or conviction of Omar Alexander Cardenas. Alejandro Castillo. Alejandro, or Alex Castillo, was born on November 26, 1998, making him the youngest person on this list, being only 26 years old at the time of recording. He was born in Arizona, has black hair, brown eyes, is 5 feet 6 inches tall, and weighs approximately 180 to 190 pounds. Similar to Omar, Alejandro is wanted for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution and murder. But in case that wasn't crazy enough, the story behind it makes it even crazier. In August of 2016, Alejandro was working in a Shomar's restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. He worked at this restaurant with his current girlfriend Mia and his ex-girlfriend Sandy. At this time, Alejandro was 17, Mia was 19, and Sandy was 23. An investigation by the FBI and Charlotte police revealed that Alejandro actually borrowed and owed Sandy $1,000. Although this was a debt he never intended to repay. Phone records were able to confirm that on August 9th, 2016, Alejandro had contacted Sandy telling her that they should meet up so he can pay her the money he owed her. Sandy agreed to meet up with him and they met at a Quick Trip in Charlotte. And what happened next was genuinely disturbing. When the two met at the Quick Trip gas station, Alejandro quickly forced Sandy to take out all of the money she could out of an ATM, and then it's suspected that he took her car with her in it to a remote location where he took Sandy out of the vehicle, shot her, killing her instantly, dumped her body in the ditch, and then stole her car to flee the scene. 6 days later, on August 15th, Sandy's car was found at a bus station in Phoenix, Arizona, Alejandro's hometown. And only 1 day later, on August 16th, Alejandro was seen on CCTV footage crossing the Arizona-Mexico border on foot to unfortunately never be seen again. To add insult to injury, it was only hours between the time that Alejandro had passed into Mexico and the body of Sandy was finally discovered back in Charlotte. It is believed by the FBI that Alejandro is still hiding in Mexico and is possibly being protected by local authorities. To me, it is just so heartbreaking how seemingly easily Alejandro was able to get away with this crime for this long. However, there is still hope that justice will finally be served. It is for that reason that the United States government is offering up to $250,000 for any information that could lead to the arrest or conviction of Alejandro Castillo. Wilver Villegas-Palomino. Wilver was born in Colombia on October 21st, 1981, meaning he just celebrated his 44th birthday. He has brown eyes, black hair, and is believed to be 5'7" to 5'9" and roughly 190 pounds. And while Wilver may seem unassuming, his list of charges are nuts. Wilver is currently wanted for terrorism and international cocaine distribution. The FBI has confirmed that Wilver is a high-ranking member of the National Liberation Army, or ELN, and is wanted for his association with the drug trafficking activities of the ELN Northeastern Warfront, which is a region that stretches across Colombia and Venezuela. The ELN Northeastern Warfront oversees multiple laboratories that produce over 200 tons of cocaine every single year, and this product is distributed globally. And it's alleged that the massive profits from these drug operations go directly to funding domestic terrorism, political corruption, and even to subvert U.S. national security and law enforcement interests in the region in which he operates. Like most gangs and cartels, the ELN is not only associated with the production and distribution of drugs, but also with other crimes such as murder, extortion, torture, and kidnapping. That is all also in addition to funding political corruption and funding literal terrorism. The FBI not only recognizes ELN as a drug trafficking and a terrorist organization, but also as an army, specifically recruiting young men that are poor and have no other option, usually intimidating them with violence, making them feel like their only two options in life of either being a poor victim or a rich, powerful member of their army. And unfortunately, for many individuals, the story that ELN is selling is appealing, and sadly, typically results in the tragic death of these young men who didn't know any better. The FBI is dedicated to bringing Wilver to justice after his multi-decade-long conspiracy, as well as his involvement in ELN's other operations, which is why, for that reason, he's been on this list since 2020, and the US government is currently offering up to $5 million for any information that leads to Wilver's arrest or conviction. But be warned, it should kind of go without saying, but Wilver is considered armed and dangerous. Bhadreshkumar Patel. Bhadreshkumar was born on May 15, 1990 in India. He's currently 35 years old, is 5'9", and is approximately 165 pounds. He has brown hair and brown eyes, and he is wanted for the following crimes: unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, first-degree murder, second-degree murder, first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and dangerous weapon with intent to injure. The story of Bhadreshkumar is extremely disturbing and also rings similar to the story we told of Alejandro, for reasons you'll see shortly. In 2015, Bhadreshkumar and his newlywed wife moved from India to the United States, where they both lived and worked at a donut shop in Maryland. On April 12th of 2015, both Bhadreshkumar and his wife were working the night shift together, and it was during this night shift when Bhadreshkumar's wife, Palak, happened to take a phone call with her family where she expressed that she wanted to go back home to India. During this time as well, the FBI reported that Bhadreshkumar and Palak's visas also expired, giving them good reason to visit home. However, Palak would never have the opportunity to visit home again. During Palak's phone call to her family, Bhadreshkumar asked his wife to follow him into the back room of the donut shop, where he then allegedly stabbed her multiple times to death. And shockingly, as you can see, a lot of this encounter is captured on CCTV. At the time, Bhadreshkumar was only 25 years old, and his wife was only 21. And after the horrific event took place, you can actually see Bhadreshkumar walking casually out of the back as if nothing happened. Following this event, Bhadreshkumar left the donut shop, went home, grabbed cash, his passport, and immediately went to a hotel where he stayed the night. He checked into the hotel at 3 a.m. and checked out at 10 a.m. And this was once again captured on CCTV. When Bhadreshkumar left the hotel, he was driven by a taxi driver to Newark Penn Station, where he was never seen again. And after 2 years of searching with no success, the FBI decided to add Bhadreshkumar to the FBI's 10 most wanted list. And since his addition in 2017, Bhadreshkumar has remained on the list, and unfortunately, at large. The FBI is currently offering up to $250,000 for any information that leads to the arrest or conviction of Bhadreshkumar, and he is considered to be armed and extremely dangerous. This case is another extremely heartbreaking and upsetting case because of how much evidence there is, however, how little progress has been made over the last decade. Ryan James' wedding. So far, we've talked about a lot of upsetting and disturbing and twisted cases, but this one is likely one of the most interesting because of the sheer twists and turns. Let me just get right into it. Ryan was born on September 14th, 1981 in Canada. He is 44 years old, has brown hair, blue eyes, and is roughly 6'3" and 240 pounds. And the list of charges against Ryan are long. Conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute controlled substances, conspiracy to export cocaine, continuing criminal enterprise, murder in connection with a continuing criminal enterprise and drug crime, attempting to commit murder in connection with a continuing criminal enterprise and drug crime. Yes, that was hard to say. Ryan also goes by El Jefe, and if he looks familiar, it might be because you've seen him on the literal Olympics. That's right, Ryan competed in the 2002 Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City and was an Olympic snowboarder. And I guess you could say he's technically still hitting the powder to this day. Now, jokes aside, going from being an Olympic athlete to then being the kingpin of an international drug smuggling ring is a pretty interesting career shift. However, Ryan's criminal career is nothing to gloat about. Ryan is alleged to not only run but participate in one of the largest drug trafficking operations that routinely ships hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Colombia directly through Mexico, California, and even all the way to Canada, as well as other states in the United States. On top of running and operating an extremely sophisticated drug trafficking operation, Ryan is also alleged to have been involved in multiple murders linked to the furtherance of his drug crimes. It is suspected that Ryan has been involved in this operation for many years now. However, he was only added to the list extremely recently in March of 2025. Ryan is considered armed and dangerous, and as of today, the FBI is offering up to $10 million for any information that leads to the arrest or conviction of Ryan James' wedding. Ruja Ignatova. The crimes of Ruja Ignatova are definitely not excusable. However, she's going to seem like more or less of a palate cleanse in comparison to some of the other entries on this list. Ruja was born in Bulgaria on May 30th, 1980, making her 45 years old. She has brown eyes, black hair, and she is known as the crypto queen, and I think you can see where this is going. The current charges against Ruja are as follows: conspiracy to commit money laundering and conspiracy to commit securities fraud. In 2014, Ruja established her company OneCoin, which is a Bulgaria-based cryptocurrency company. And this OneCoin that her and her team developed was promoted as the Bitcoin killer and the cryptocurrency to rule them all. That's right, crypto scams have been going on for over a decade now. Feel old yet? Although Ruja's OneCoin was definitely one of the first major examples of blatant corruption and robbery. While Ruja positioned herself as a genius entrepreneur and positioned OneCoin as the future of cryptocurrency, OneCoin was created with one true intention in mind: to defraud people out of money. And it had no origin or no intention of ever being anything legitimate. With the early excitement of cryptocurrency rising in 2014, Ruja used inflated credentials and flashy marketing to take advantage of the market's interest and lack of knowledge. Without getting too deep into the weeds on cryptocurrency, the long and short of it is this. Bitcoin, for example, is a decentralized currency, meaning that everything that takes place on Bitcoin is tracked on-chain and publicly available to everybody. However, OneCoin operated on a private blockchain that was centralized, meaning that nothing was disclosed to the investor and everything that happened on-chain was basically owned and visible only to OneCoin. Due to the centralized nature of OneCoin, it allowed for easy and effective market manipulation, making it seem like OneCoin was much more successful than it actually was. And because of this, OneCoin was able to boast impressive numbers and gain investors quickly. However, what goes up must come down. Oh, and disgustingly, one of the marketing tactics they used was multi-level marketing, specifically requesting that all investors of OneCoin got their friends and family to also invest, which, as you can probably assume, led to a lot of people's financial misfortune. Only 2 years after the initial launch of OneCoin, in 2016, they held a massive event in London where Ruja herself spoke on stage in a magnificent red dress, talking about all the success that OneCoin has been able to achieve in such a short amount of time. It was at this event that Ruja specifically claimed that OneCoin had over 2 million active users and that OneCoin had the most active users out of any cryptocurrency ever at the time. And it was only within 1 year after this event took place that the entire house of cards fell. The result was $4 billion lost for investors and a global manhunt for Ruja. Ruja was officially charged with the crimes associated with OneCoin in 2017. And unfortunately, 2017 was the last time Ruja was ever seen, as she was spotted traveling from Sofia, Bulgaria to Athens, Greece. At the time of making this video, Ruja was the 11th woman ever to be added in its 75 years of existence. And today, the FBI is offering up to $5 million for any information that leads to the arrest or conviction of Ruja Ignatova. Yulan, Adonay, Archaga, Carias. Yulan was born on February 13th, 1982 in Honduras. He is 5'5" and weighs 160 pounds and has black hair and brown eyes. And while this man may have a petite stature, his list of crimes is anything but small. Yulan is currently charged with the following crimes: racketeering conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns, and conspiracy to possess machine guns. But his list of true crimes goes far beyond these charges. Yulan is the alleged leader of the infamous MS-13 gang for all of Honduras. MS-13 is an extremely dangerous transnational gang whose sole purpose is violence. MS-13 uses violent acts worldwide to support their prestige, enhance their reputation, and to control and grow its controlling territories. The FBI has stated themselves that they don't understand the end goal of MS-13, and they believe that MS-13's goal is to use fear to grow in power to then eventually grow into some sort of governmental entity. But that is still unconfirmed. With the fear and reputation of violence that MS-13 has, they're easily able to sell drugs and extort individuals in return for large sums of money to further fund their terroristic activity. And I don't use that term lightly. MS-13 is considered a terrorist organization in El Salvador, and it's likely to be considered that in other places as well soon. With this brief explanation of what MS-13 is all about, it's not hard to understand why the leader of an entire division of this group is currently on the most wanted list. And the reason why America is so interested in Yulan is because, once again, his operations closely involve violent acts that take place on American soil and the mass importation of illegal and deadly drugs onto American soil. Yulan has been on the FBI's most wanted list since 2021, and at the time of recording this video, he still remains at large. Which is why today the FBI is offering up to $5 million for any information that leads to the arrest or conviction of Yulan, Adonay, Archaga, Cardenas. Although it is noted that Yulan should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. Cindy Rodriguez Singh. Off the bat, that is a name combination you do not hear often. Indian, Mexican. Anyways, this lady was actually captured, which is a massive W, but I still want to mention her quickly, because she's technically still on the list. Cindy was born on January 30th, 1985 in Dallas, Texas. She has brown hair, brown eyes, is roughly 5'1" to 5'3", and weighs roughly 120 pounds. She's also the second woman in this video and the 12th woman ever to be on the FBI's most wanted list. Cindy was only added to the list in June of 2025, relatively recently. However, her crimes date back to 2022 when one of her children, her 6-year-old son, went missing. After lying to police that her child was with her biological father in Mexico, police began to get suspicious of what was actually going on, and Cindy was charged with the murder of her son. However, before Cindy could be arrested, her husband, and her 6 other children boarded a flight to India and were never seen again. While boarding this flight to India, it was confirmed that the missing child was not on this flight or seen anywhere at all. While the true circumstances and motivations behind this murder still remain a mystery, and the murder aspect is still alleged at this point, it is confirmed that in August of 2025, Cindy was caught and arrested in India, and has since been extradited back to the United States, where she is facing the following charges: unlawful flight to avoid prosecution and capital murder of a person under 10 years of age. With this situation still ongoing, I truly hope that justice is served for the sake of this innocent young boy. Even though Cindy has been caught, the FBI is still offering up to $250,000 for anybody who has information that leads to the conviction of Cindy Rodriguez Singh. Now, even though that is the 10 most wanted list as of now, the video isn't over yet because I want to give 4 quick updates on people that were on the list in my last video nearly a year ago that are no longer on the list. So let's quickly do a speed round. Vitel'homme Innocent was on the list in my last video, but unfortunately it was removed from the most wanted list on July 1st, 2025. Now, this is upsetting simply because he wasn't caught and no criminal justice has been served. In case you're unfamiliar, Vitel'homme Innocent is the leader of one of the most dangerous gangs in all of Haiti. And the gang that he operates is responsible for numerous murders of police officers, kidnappings of tourists and missionaries in Haiti, and other organized crime-related activities. Vitel'homme Innocent is powerful and extremely dangerous. And unfortunately, he is still on the loose. According to the FBI, he was removed from the FBI's most wanted list because it was determined he no longer fit the criteria. And he was actually replaced with Rodriguez Singh, which I guess makes it a bit better because having Singh added to the list resulted in her being arrested only 2 months after being featured on the list, meaning that the list at least works sometimes. Alexis Flores was removed from the most wanted list on March 6th, 2025, once again, unfortunately, because it was determined he no longer fits the criteria. As a refresher, Alexis Flores is alleged to have murdered and assaulted a 5-year-old girl in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the year 2000. He was added to the list in 2007 and was removed only a few months ago in 2025. And unfortunately, this man is still on the loose 25 years later after committing such an atrocious crime. Donald Eugene Fields II was caught on January 25th, 2025, relatively recently, and he was on the list because of his involvement in child trafficking from 2013 to 2017. Donald was officially added to the FBI's most wanted list in 2023, and fortunately, he was caught only 2 years later. And finally, Arnoldo Jimenez was caught on January 30th, 2025, only 5 days after Donald was caught. Arnoldo was added to the list in May of 2019 after he brutally murdered his wife only hours after his wedding. He left her body in the bathtub of their apartment and then fled the scene and was never seen until January of 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, there we have it, the 2025 update of the FBI's most wanted list. If you guys enjoyed this video and would like annual updates, that's something I think I'd be down for. I know this video got pretty dark, so if you wanted to watch a video that was a bit more fun, check out the video on screen right now. It's a video about survival myths that would actually get you killed, so if you're interested in seeing the fun misadventures of 2 bros out on a survival mission, check out the video on screen. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, trust me, bro.